my gosh, there's so many of you. Oh, this is incredible. So the last 2 years, I've got to stand on the orange stage and speak about innovation. And this year, I get to do the same thing. So we're gonna talk all about innovation. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so the first thing is I need to do a little bit of a check-in, like a temperature check. I need to know, are there any people in this room who can't stand innovation? Make some noise if you can't stand innovation. Let's hear it. Yes, there's one. There's one, right? And I imagine that there may be others of you too, but saying you hate innovation is kind of like telling someone that their dog just is the worst and you don't like their dog, right? Or saying that you don't like innovation is like, where are my nursery worker people? Who works with the 0-year? Listen. How do y'all deal when someone is like showing you their baby and it's not that cute? Do you say like, that's an ugly baby? Right? Like saying you don't like innovation is being like your kid looks kind of alien-y, like it's kind of, I know, you can't really say that because people think you're a bad person. People think you're a bad person if you don't like innovation. And yet, still, isn't it true that we feel a little bit okay with complaining about change? Right? When we have this word change, it's like we're okay with saying like, why are they changing that? Or why are they changing that now? Or I like the way it used to be. Or I had this all down to a science and the moment they changed it, now it's so different. I don't like this. Change is the prerequisite to innovation. And the more I think about it, the more I think about if we are serving kids and teenagers, we've got to get a lot more comfortable with change. Like if our goal is to serve the next generation, we have to actually embrace change so that we can then move forward and actually innovate. I think the church has an opportunity here. I think that kids and teenagers want to find a place that they can come and bring all of their questions, all the things they're wondering about. And I think kids and teenagers want to be able to ask the church, hey, do you think I'm worth changing enough for, right? Am I worth enough that you would actually change the way you do things so that you can serve our generations better, right? We can't be shaken by the ways that the next generation will ask us, the church, to change for their better. For them to ask us, hey, will you innovate? Will you grow with me? Will you meet me where I am so that we can grow into a future? There's actually a little bit of research I wanted to look at from an incredible organization called Springtide Research Institute. Who's familiar? Anybody followed Springtide? They released this incredible document, and it is all about the state of religion and young people from 2023, and it's exploring the sacred. And in this study, one of the really thoughtful questions they asked was, how often do you attend a religious service? They asked this for 13 to 25-year-olds. There were about 4,500-ish participants, all normed across all kinds of different places. It wasn't just one really large youth group that they were asking this question. And so the answers came back that nearly 4 out of 10 young people say that they actually never attend a religious service, right? So like 38% said never. I never attend a religious service. 27% said I go 1 to 3 times a year. There's some other stats in there. 10% say once a month, 9% say 2 to 3 times a month, 13% say every week, and 4% say more than once a week. Those stats can feel pretty bleak, right? You mean to tell me 63% go to church 3 times or less per year? I sit with that data and I'm like, okay, what does this mean about church? What does this mean about this place that we gather that we love so much? And then I flip the page in the survey, and what I find there is very interesting to me. Basically, they ask this next question: how often do you engage in these activities? I'll tell you what these activities are in a second, as a religious or spiritual practice. So they listed 4 different activities, right? These are things you could do without it being actually spiritual, or things you could do and say, my intention and my focus is that this is going to influence and impact my spiritual life while I do this, right? The things were pray, read, spend time in nature, and my favorite one, engage in art. They asked kids and teenagers, 13 to 25-year-olds, how often do you do these daily or weekly in a way that is intentional about your spirituality? And the numbers were way more encouraging. 45% said that they pray daily or weekly. 49% said they read daily or weekly. 54% say they spend time in nature daily or weekly. And 56% said that they engage in art daily or weekly. And all of this in a motion toward their spiritual development and toward their spiritual growth. When I look at this gap between 63% go three times or less per year to church, and this gap that about half the time, half of them are doing their own choose your own adventure kind of spiritual discipline growth in these unconventional ways, praying, reading, spending time in nature, and engaging in art, it really makes me wonder about the church. It makes me wonder, are they begging us to innovate? Are they begging us to close that gap and meet them where they are? The truth is, in order for us to meet them where they are, we have to remember who we are. Right? That's the only way to say, like, okay, I see this gap. I don't want to fill this gap with just doing the most trendy, fun, exciting thing just to fill the gap to say, hey, look over here. It's really fun. You should do your spiritual disciplines over here with us. No, we don't want to just fill the gap. We actually have to set our hearts and our minds and our intention and our mission on something before we decide what it is. I mean, maybe another way to say it is that when you're ready to innovate, the first question that you ask yourself matters. It's not how or what, it's who. It's who. It's easy for us to say, like, what do? I want to innovate. But maybe the better question is, who am I? Who is my ministry? Like, who are we? What is it that we're doing? When we remember who we are, it reminds us of who we can become. And when we remember who we can become, it then helps the how be so much more clear. An example would be at Orange, we actually have these 5 things that we come back to. Anytime that there's a chance to innovate, anytime there's a time where we learn something new and it's time to like change up the way we were doing something, anytime that we're like, all right, how do we serve the church in the best way possible? We come back to our who. Right? Our who are these 5 things that we constantly think really help serve your churches, your communities, your families. We are so passionate about resourcing you so that you can go forward and invite families and kids and teenagers to your ministry. Really quickly, here are the 5 things. We literally could spend the whole conference on these 5 things, but I'm gonna hit them really, really quickly. The first one is leaders. We believe that when you align leaders, we're not just talking about the pastor, the youth pastor, the kids director. We're talking about volunteers, volunteer leaders. We're talking about whoever's holding the doors open. Any adult that's showing up to serve the faith and the future of the next generation. We truly believe that when they are aligned and strategic, that they get to have a more profound impact on the faith of the next generation. We believe in leaders. We believe in the message of Jesus Christ, that it should be handled so carefully at every age and every stage and every phase of life, that we get to give kids and teenagers a faith that they can stay curious about, so that they can stay in relationship with God throughout the time from birth through high school. We believe in stewarding the message. We believe in parents. We've done the math. We understand that if kids and teenagers are only coming to church a certain percentage of the time, they are still spending 3,000 hours more with their parents that year. We believe in parents. We know that the parent is the primary spiritual leader of a kid's life. So we believe in resourcing and partnering with parents. The third thing we believe in is it all happens in community. None of this happens alone. None of this happens in isolation. We believe in discipleship and in relationship. And so we come back to this idea of how do we do this as the church together? And then we believe in serving. Serving is how we go and do something with this faith that we proclaim. It's how we get active and get involved. We go, we serve. So then once you're clear on who you are, how do you innovate? How do you innovate? I think there's a lot of answers to that question. When I think about the season that the church at large is in right now, and also Orange specifically, as Amazing Life is in right now, I think that there's a lot of power when we learn to tell our stories back to each other. There's this metaphor that's so clear in my mind for this, that in order for us to innovate and tell our stories back and forth to each other the way that God calls us to remember and reimagine, is that it's gonna take anchors and kites. It's gonna take anchors and kites. We have these stories where we remember who we were and we remember where we came from. It sounds a lot like what's happening in Deuteronomy when God's like, hey, remember, only be careful to watch yourselves closely so that you do not forget these things that your eyes have seen or let them fade from your heart. As long as you live, teach them to your children and to their children after them. God calls us to remember his faithfulness and his goodness. Remember, an anchor. But I think God also calls us to reimagine, a kite. This idea of what's possible, what else is out there, what else could happen. It's like Ephesians 3:20, it says, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be the glory in the church and in Jesus Christ throughout all generations forever and ever, amen. We need anchor storytellers and kite storytellers. Anchor storytellers are the ones who know the ins and outs of your organization. Like your missional words, the ones that are on the wall or on your letterhead or in the email signature. No, they know those words at their core, and they can talk about how those words play out in the identity of your ministry, of your church, of your mission. Anchor storytellers, they have history. They tell the stories of God's faithfulness throughout all the years, not just to keep you stuck in the past. They tell the stories because they lived once in what is now a past, but was someone's once future, where they were like, hey, what if we did this one day? And they lived there on this side of it and this side of it. And they said, I can see how God has played his way throughout all of this so that now we can look forward to the future. We need anchor storytellers. They're the ones who often start sentences with this 3-word phrase. Remember when when they start that, you listen. You listen, you listen, you listen. They can tie everything back to a story in your org, and it grounds you. And when we have anchors, it allows the kites to fly, right? The kite storytellers, they are the ones dreaming of the future. They are not just heads in the clouds. They are literally the ones learning the specifics of how to surf the winds of time in order to do more and imagine more and to go forward into possibility. We need the kite storytellers. They start stories with this 3-word phrase. What if we, and then you listen and you listen and you listen to the remember when we and the what if we, and when those things come together, we get this beautiful picture that shows us here's how we can go forward and not just put our identity in some wishy-washy thing. No, put our identity in something that has anchors, like parents, like the message, like leaders, like community, like serving. Put your identity there so that you can then go try all of the things and not be afraid that the things you try are gonna damage who you are. We need kite storytellers. I think kite storytellers, they hear about what God could do and remind those of us who sometimes can think small that God can actually do more. We need them. We have to listen to them. We need both. Because honestly, if you only have one, right? If you only have anchors, yes, you will be steady, but you're not going any further than you've already been. Yeah, you need anchors, but if you only have anchors, there will be no progress. You'll only be reliving the glory days. It'll be rigid and unloving and unmovable if you only have anchors. But then if you have no anchors, like none at all, then our kite friends, they're going from anything is possible to everything is possible. I'm gonna do it all. To actually nothing actually got done because it was all too possible and I just didn't. There was nothing to like tether, right? Raise your hand. Yeah, they're confessing over here. That's awesome. If you have no anchors, there's no reflection, there's no pause, there's no moment to say, hey, do we need to change course? Do we need to go another way? Do we need to stop for a second to think about where we're going? We need the anchors. You need the time to recalibrate. Anchors give us breathing room. But if then you only have kites, well, it gets any kites in here who are like, yeah, I see the hands. I see that hand. They're impressionable. You can be gullible, you can be flighty, you can be uncommittal, right? All of these different things. But then if we have no kites, then we don't dream at all. If we have no kites, we have no vision for the future, no hope of what's even possible. We have no way to ride the winds of change if we don't have any kites. You see, innovation is only as good as the problems that it actually solves. In other words, don't just innovate for innovation's sake. The goal of our innovation is love, because we love the church and we love families and we love the next generation. We love what God is doing in our communities. And so, I think our commitment is that we will be innovators. We're gonna have anchors so that the kites can fly high and fast and soar. We're gonna be innovators because our commitment to you is that we wanna be there in the future. We're gonna be innovators because we believe in the power of combining two unlike things: home and church, art and science, parents and volunteers, faith and character. We believe when you combine these things, you get a chemistry, an alchemy, a catalyst. Something new can happen when you combine these things. We're gonna be innovators because there's just gotta be more to the story if we're honest. This last year has been hard, and I don't want the story to end where it is. Innovation dares to say like, oh no, there's more to hope for. So we're gonna keep innovating. Jean Kerr defines hope in this way. Hope is the feeling that the feeling I have right now isn't permanent. We're gonna be innovators because we just believe that the church deserves not just better, but like the best. Like, why do we have to go everywhere but the church to find the best thing on the market, the best thing happening in culture, right? We're gonna be innovators because we believe the church deserves the best. And to be honest, I think Orange Amazing Life as a company, you as your churches, I think we're gonna also commit to innovation because the opposite is very less appealing. If we don't commit to innovation, what? We're committing to we're just gonna die out with the times. We're just gonna settle for mediocre. We're just gonna become a commodity. We're just gonna remain the same. No, who wants any of that? No, we are committing to becoming innovators. And I am so excited and so proud that I get to introduce our CEO, Chris Heaslip, who has shown up and has been both an anchor and a kite, even in these short 114-ish days. Chris, he anchors us to this idea that the church deserves excellence and the best. Chris is also a kite, and he wouldn't say that he's had so much success just because he's had so much success. I think Chris would go ahead and say, no, I've just dared to try more times than anyone else is willing to fail. And that's who's leading us right now. So I am so proud, Orange, that we get to hang out with and meet Chris and all of the incredible things that he's already brought and all of the ways that he's already challenged our teams and our families and our mission and our products and all of the things just in the last 100-ish days. And you're gonna get to hear so much about it. And so I want you to give a warm welcome, not right now, because we're gonna play a video, but after the video, please give a warm Orange welcome to our CEO, Chris Heaslip.
There was a time we thought the world was flat. We thought it was limited, contained. We thought that if we ran far enough, sailed long enough, searched hard enough, we would eventually find the end. Some fought to keep the world flat, small, safe. But a foundational fact of our faith is that God was already there, waiting for us to discover the church beyond a flat world. God was waiting for tomorrow. And as we uncovered more of the world around us, a revolution began. Suddenly, the world was not limited, was not contained. It was boundless. And as we traveled from Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, and into the uttermost parts of the world, God was always there for us. And the bigger the universe became, the greater our faith expanded as well. Will we now, with the same spirit, courageously enter tomorrow? Today, the world is more than just round. We have explored it, plunged beneath its surface, and blasted through its roof. Today, new is already old, and enough will never again be enough. What will this world look like in 50 years, in 10 years, in just 6 months? What will it take to embrace the next generation, to join this world of connection? Tomorrow is coming, and God is ready for tomorrow. Are we?
It is so awesome to be with you. Do you know what today marks? 113 days since we got to join forces together, Amazing Life in Orange, and it has been a roller coaster of a couple of months. And so I'm super excited to spend some time together to share a little bit about where we're going as an organization and to partner with you in the single greatest mission that could ever exist on this planet, which is to help young people come to follow Jesus as their Lord and Savior. And so this is why I'm here. I am super pumped up. It could be the 4 Celsiuses that I had before I came out here, or it could just be that I'm in love with this mission to come and spend some time with you. So you're probably wondering, I talk a little funny. This is my family. I just want to introduce them. This is my beautiful wife, Sarah, my oldest son, Micah, who's almost 13, CJ, I'm going to talk about him in just a little bit. He's 10. And then Hannah, my youngest, please pray for me. She is, I got to tell you, this is not on the script, but don't worry. I came downstairs on Wednesday morning and I was making her breakfast and she came and I said, "There's my favorite girl." And she looks at me straight in the face and she goes, "Your wife should be your favorite girl." I was like, "You're 7. And I said, "My wife is my favorite woman." I was defensive. So, this is what I've got. Please pray for me. I'm like learning to be a girl dad. It's a whole new experience. But this is my beautiful home country of New Zealand. This is the South Island of New Zealand. It is like the most beautiful place on earth, which is a lot like Dallas, Texas, yes, my Dallas people, which is now where I live. And New Zealand is just like Dallas, except it has a lot more sheep and a lot less guns. So that is now where I live, and so it's awesome to be in Atlanta with you guys. So today what I want to do is I want to share a little bit about me, because I want to just tell a little bit of my story. I want to share about who is Amazing Life, and then I'm going to get to share a little bit about where we're going as an organization and some of the cool things that we have planned that we get to introduce you to today. So I grew up in New Zealand, and when I was 2 years old, my parents got divorced. My father had a drinking problem. He cheated on my mother, so she kicked him out. And as part of all of that, we got introduced to the local Baptist church. And we started going along, and after a little while, my mum got saved. She became a follower of Jesus. And it was awesome. We got to go along. It was like expected that you went every single Sunday, unless you were coughing up the King James Bible, then you could not come. But other than that, we were Baptist, so we had to go. And so we went every single Sunday. And what I want to tell you about is two men who changed my life. And so through going to the local Baptist church, I remember we had this Sunday school teacher. His name was Craig Burnett, like Mr. Burnett. And the thing that made me impressed with him is he would show up every single week and he would be prepared. He was like excited to see us. He would greet us. Like this was, I'm old. So like, I know I look young, but I'm really old. So like back in those days, like he would have to, like write all the notes out. And he showed up and he was like just pumped to be there. He was pumped to share with me at like 5, 6, 7 years old. Like he was excited to share the gospel with us. And I think about that all the time. I think about someone who shows up every single week, who's so passionate about teaching kids how to become followers of Jesus, that here we are 40-some years later, talking about Mr. Burnett. Now, I have this one memorable moment in Sunday school. He asked the kids in the class, "What are you most afraid of?" And of course, you get the answers. One of the boys said he was afraid of girls. Some of the girls, like they were afraid of spiders, But of course, in New Zealand, one of the kids said, I'm afraid that I'm gonna climb up a tree and get stuck in it, and that my dad will come along and use a chainsaw to get me out of the tree. Like I said, I grew up in New Zealand, so just please don't judge me. And so this is kind of where I grew up. And so we were in that church until I was about to start high school. And my mother thought, look, I've got a son, he doesn't have a father, he's young and impressionable. And she looked at the youth leaders of the church and they like partying and drinking, and she was worried. She's like, if my son goes to this youth group, then, I don't know what's gonna happen because he's gonna be around these bad influences. So she made the difficult decision to drive across town every weekend, and we started attending the Pentecostal church. And yeah, look, I've done them both, okay? We were from the Baptists to the Pentecostals. I remember the first time I showed up there, I thought they were like 7 bridges deep into the worship and it was the first song. Like, it was, they were still singing the first song 7 times. So it was, quite the experience. But you know what I remember? That Sunday, there was one of the youth leaders, his name was Matt Berry. And Matt Berry was playing the drums, like he was there, and I was like, man, that is one cool dude. And so he came over to us after the service and introduced himself. And after that, he was like, hey, you're gonna come to the youth service in New Zealand? It was on Wednesday night. I was like, yeah, I'll be there. So I turned up on Wednesday night, and of course, who do I see as I walk in the door? There's Matt. He's like, Chris, it's so awesome. I'm like, I just met you once, man. How do you remember my name? Like, that was like impressive. And so we got to hang out with Matt. And he's like, hey, like, what are you interested in? And I was like, well, like, I'm kind of interested in computer games. He's like, hey, like, why don't you come hang out? Like, next Friday night, we can go hang out at like internet cafes. Okay, I'm really dating myself now. Back when, like Awesome Source 381 would like own me on Counter-Strike. Yeah, some like 13-year-old kid is, anyway, some of you know what I'm talking about, internet cafes, like they're in some basement somewhere, and anyway. So the best thing about Matt though, was he didn't ask me anything about my faith. He didn't ask me if I was reading my Bible. He just asked me like, how you doing? So we started to build this relationship together. And he started over time to say, hey, like, Chris, like, I'm reading this verse in my Bible this week. Why don't you read it too? And he's like, hey, like, when you come next week, I want you to tell me, like, what did you read in the Bible? And I was like, sure. So I went and, bought all these concordances and Greek translations. I wanted to impress Matt. Like, I didn't even know what a concordance was. Again, like, this was before the internet, y'all. Like, I mean, come on. So I was like reading there, and I turned up and I was like, here's my exegesis on like the Bible, Matt. Like I was, 13. He's like, no, but Chris, like, what is this verse saying to you in your heart? Like, what is God leading you to understand and how to apply it? And I was like, that was a thing? Like, it's not just a head knowledge that you should understand. It's like, no, like you have to understand that following Jesus means applying this to your life. And so over the course of months and months and months, and the 4 years that I spent with him in his youth group, this man cared for me, he invested in me, and he taught me what it meant to truly become a follower of Jesus. And so when people say to me, Chris, why are you here? What would cause you to want to take this role? The answer is because of two people, Mr. Burnett and Matt Berry, because two people made an influence on my life. Two people who cared enough for me during my formative years, because I didn't have a father, because I didn't have someone to teach me and explain to me all of the things that I needed to learn about what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. Two people literally changed the course of my life so that I'm standing here today in no small part because of Mr. Burnett and Matt Berry. And so the question that I have to ask you, and the question that I ask myself when I come to work every single day is, what if there is a Chris in your community who needs someone to just simply come alongside them, to lead them, to guide them to follow Jesus, because people don't understand what it means unless we show them. And when I started this whole journey, trying to understand content and all of this stuff a few years ago, the thing that got my attention was I was reading my Bible, and in Acts chapter 8, there is the story of Philip and the Ethiopian. And this Ethiopian, this prominent person of the culture of the day, is going along the path. And God says to Philip, go down to that man. And this Ethiopian is reading the Bible. And Philip says to him, do you understand what you are reading? And the Ethiopian says these words, how will I understand unless there is someone to guide me? And that's what you all are. That is the role that you play. You get to guide people to help them become followers of Jesus. That is like the greatest single mission on the planet. And we get to come to work every day to play a part in that. Like, I'm inspired just to hang out with you guys. Like, this is awesome, yeah. Like, this is the single greatest mission that exists on the planet. And so I'm excited a little bit to share some brand new innovations with you. But the first thing I want to do, Leslie just gave a great announcement. I had no idea she was going to do that. But I want to talk to you about 5 anchors, okay? 5 anchors about where oranges come from, and some of the things that we believe, okay? So the first one I want to talk about is when people say, what is changing and what's not changing? So the first one is, and I want to make these 5 commitments that our whole team is going to make to you, all right? So 5 commitments. So the first thing that I want to commit to is to uphold Orange's 9 theological insights. So when we got here 113 days ago, the first thing we did is we started to understand what do we believe? And Orange had set out these incredible theological insights that explain our statement of belief and what we stand for. And so we got together with our whole team, and we got to look at those together and say, do we believe these things are true? And what I want to affirm and endorse tonight is that we absolutely believe that these things are true and correct. And we're going to continue to make curriculum around those 9 theological insights, okay? The second thing that is not changing is we are going to continue to be world-class when it comes to excellence, especially in design and video content. All right. Now, I got a chance to lead a team. The previous organization I was part of was called PushPay. Some of you use it for giving and all of that. And the thing people used to ask me was this. They say, Chris, what made PushPay successful? And I said, if I could boil it down to 2 things, it's this. It's number 1, we have the heart of a pastor. And number 2 is we have world-class excellence. We stand for world-class excellence. And both have to be true in order for us to achieve our mission. And so I've got a chance to meet the incredible team that was here previously. And they have been known for years at being truly world-class when it comes to creativity and expressing that in a truly world-class way. So that is not changing. Okay, number 3 is we are going to commit to represent the communities that we serve through on-screen talent and the perspective of different writers, okay? So I think it's really important when we get to put folks on a screen that the people on the screen represent the communities that they come from and the communities that are watching the content that you get to serve and be in. And so we want to have a whole diverse range of people who are on the screen and we are going to commit to have a diverse group of writers writing our content because we believe that is really, really important. Okay, so let's talk about two things that are changing, okay? Number 4, what's changing is we are going to increase the amount of biblical depth in our content. Yeah. And so I want to give you 3 really specific ways that we're going to do that because I think it can mean so many different things to different people, all right? So the first one, and I got over the last 60 days specifically, I've got a chance to meet with 100 of you, 100 different churches to understand and get your feedback about how we're doing. Are we doing good? Are we doing bad? And the number one piece of feedback that you told me was we want you to have more biblical depth in your content. And so we are going to do that through 3 ways. The first way is we are going to have biblical references included in the curriculum where it's appropriate to do so. Because I heard like so many times you told me like, we just spend time adding biblical references back into the curriculum. Can you just write it in there for us? Like it would save so much time. If there's 10,000 churches and you guys all spend an hour a week, that's 10,000 hours a week. Just write it there, it would save us time. So we're gonna do that, all right? The second thing that we're gonna do to add more biblical depth is we're gonna ensure that when we have a bottom line in the curriculum, it ties back to the story that's being taught. Because sometimes I've heard from you that you're frustrated because it's like this bottom line can just feel a little disconnected from this. Oh, wow, okay, like some people down here think it's a good idea. I just got here, okay, so I'm the new guy, all right? Like, I'm just smart enough to listen to 100 of you tell me that this is what we should change. So you guys told me, we're changing it, we're doing it, all right? And then the third thing is we are gonna ensure that when we teach virtues, that a virtue should be expressed properly as something that, a change that God has made in our heart, and that should therefore be worked out through our actions. That is what a virtue should be. We don't want to teach good behavior. Like, that's not following Jesus, right? What we want to do is ensure that when Jesus has changed us and we become a follower of him, our behavior should follow. It should change, right? Like, that's what it means to have a true virtue. So that is the third thing that we're changing in the curriculum, okay? Now, I was thinking about this and I was like, you know what? If I just tell you all that, you're gonna say, Chris, you're not really serious about it. So what I wanted to do is I wrote this into a document that you guys are all gonna get. I signed my name at the bottom and I've got the 5 things that we are committing to do, okay? And you guys are gonna all get a copy of this in your email because I want you to hold us accountable to ensure that we deliver on the promises that we're making here on stage tonight. And at the bottom it says you have a commitment to us, okay? And the commitment that I want you to make to us is that this should be a partnership. This is not a customer relation, I don't know what all that means, right? What this is a partnership. And after having met with 100 of you over 60 days, the number one thing that I heard from you is like, this just shouldn't be like, here's some stuff, good luck. What this should be is like, let's partner together because the mission that we have is too important to get it wrong. And so we want you to give us feedback, all right? We wanna hear from you. We wanna hear what you have to say. And when we don't live up to these standards that I just held up, we want you to call us out on it. Because it's a partnership and together we actually have to achieve these things. So those are the 5 things. So the last thing that I want to kind of introduce you to is that we are going to start innovating again as an organization. Because what Leslie is saying is we want to also have the kite. This is the anchor. And what we're going to hear now over the next kind of few minutes is where we're going and what we're doing. So I want you guys to put your hands together to welcome up our Chief Content Officer at Amazing Life and the founder of Amazing Kids, Tyler Bates.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be in a room full of people that just get you. This doesn't happen a lot. Like, These are the people who have weird things in the back of your car because of what game you're gonna play this coming week. And you're laughing because you know it's true. No lie, real story. I picked someone up from the airport 2 weeks ago, and I had forgotten just about the previous couple of weeks, because we all know that can turn into a wardrobe or a treasure chest. And so I pull up to the curb and I pop open my trunk, and they bring their suitcase around, and in the back is a pool noodle and a pottery wheel and a bag of ping pong balls. And they were like, "What was this for?" And I was like, "I can't even explain this one to you, so just move on." But you get it, because we all have given our lives to do something amazing. I've had the privilege of getting to be full-time vocational kids pastor for about 15 years. And in that, thanks for clapping. Thank you so much. You understand. It's wow, I feel seen. But yeah, it's great. And so when you get an opportunity to stand in a room full of people who give their lives to do things that don't always get applauded, like my friend over here, you jump at it. And so as we jump into it, and I'm excited to talk about some of the things that we're gonna be doing over the next year, I had a question for everybody. If you're here, for just a second, I need you to think about a time, the first time, the absolute first time, something clicked for you. Think about it for just a second, all right? For some people, it's gonna be something when you were riding a bike and then the training wheels, your adult took them off, and you remember that? You were on it, and your either parent or adult or someone was running alongside you, and at some point they let go. And in the moment of terror, when you realized that no one was with you, but it clicked and you just kept pedaling, do you remember that? You're you did it. For some of you, it's snapping. Can people snap in here? You know what I mean? There are people in the world who don't know how to, and we're praying for you. But I remember, being, I don't know how old I was, but just one day it was whoa, hey, look at that, Mom! Remember? Those moments were whistling. I wanted to whistle so bad as a kid, and then all of a sudden one day it was something clicked. My favorite one for me is it's the first time in my life I actually remember something clicking was tying my shoes. I had been trying so hard. My parents had gotten me off of the Velcro. I grew up in the 90s. And so they let me do shoelaces way too early, and they kept trying to teach me, it's here's the tree and you wrap it goes around, and I couldn't get it. And then one morning my parents were hey, go put your shoes on, and something, I don't know what happened. The Holy Spirit descended like a dove, and something happened, and something, it just, bing, I did it. I remember running downstairs Mom, Dad, I got it. And they're cool, buddy, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. This is what I call clickable moments. We all have them. It's things that happen in our lives where we weren't even paying attention to it, but all of a sudden something happens and it just clicks, and it all of a sudden makes sense. And the biggest clickable moment of my life, I'll never forget. I was 8 years old, and I grew up in a family. We went to church every Sunday, and we had a 2-story home, and so my dad would always wake us up in the mornings, Sunday mornings. And you knew he was coming before you saw him because he had a song that preceded the bedroom door opening. It was this, good morning, good morning, good morning, it's time to rise and shine. Good morning, good morning, good morning, I hope you're feeling fine. And you'd start to pull the covers over your head, Come on, get up, get out of bed, it's time to get up, you sleepy head. The day is starting just for you, and all your dreams are coming true. And he never hit the note. He never did. He wanted to, but he didn't. And he would open the door get up, come on, we're going to church. And I remember this morning, because I was moving a little bit slower, and so I got up out of bed, stretched. Then my hallway was there was an L shape to my parents' bedroom. They were on the second floor too. So I remember waking up and yawning and walking into my parents' bedroom. And just, my dad was already back at the ironing board. And he had a big old can of starch, and just, and I remember I can actually smell it, and I remember what it felt like when he took the shirt, like the very stiff shirt off the ironing board, and I like slid my arms into this hot, like stiff shirt, buttoned it up, trying not to burn myself, tucked it into my pleated khaki pants and put on my braided leather belts, and it was cool, come on. Okay, all right. Walked into my parents' bathroom and my mom, I had a twin, half a twin. I'm sorry, Dylan, I love you. He's at home like, all right, check. All right. Me and my twin and my younger brother, who was 18 months younger than us, and someone went, we stood in line and my mom would do our hair with like this LA Looks gel. Like I remember the smell of it. We all had the same childhood. And she would blow dry it and like my hair was like hard, but like not moving. And so we get dressed and we get in the car, and our church was about like 6.5 minutes away. And so we're driving to it and we're listening to this radio station, 89.3 FM KSBJ. And we're singing along to Rich Mullins, God is an awesome God. 8-year-old Tyler was like, when he rolls up a sleeve, he's into putting on the Ritz. Like, I didn't even know what the Ritz was, but I was like, this is cool. Like, so we pull into church, we jump out, and then first service, we would sit with my parents at church, and then the second service, we'd go upstairs. So we get out of church, and we run upstairs, and there was this room called Praise City for my age group, and me and my brothers, like looking sharp in our pleated khakis and our shirts and our braided leather belts and hair, walking in with our red Noah's Ark like Bible case and the rainbow handle. Like, get our PC bucks for bringing our Bible to church. Walk into the room, and like it was a strategic war zone. You guys know, like where you sat mattered. Like if you sat in the back, it was with the kids that talked too much and you'd get in trouble even though you weren't really talking, so you didn't want to be in the very back. But if you sat in the front, then none of the fun kids were up there, so you didn't want to be up there. So you had to like somehow get in the middle, you know what I mean? And I remember what it was. It was the third or fourth row back from the front, middle aisle. And so me and my brothers, we laid our claim on our seats with our Bibles, we go and play. And then service starts. And we sing songs, and it's awesome. I'll never forget, like this is where it happens, is all of a sudden, we finished worship, and his teacher, his name was Jim Harvey. I'll never forget Jim Harvey. Mr. Jim was a volunteer in our church, part-time volunteer. And he got up on stage, and he was like, all right, I need a volunteer. You know, and I'm like standing on my seat, like, God, please, God, me. See me, love me. You know, like every bone in my body's praying, like this will be the day. And Mr. Jim's like, Ben. And he picked this guy named Ben Schmalley. And I was like, yeah! Ben Schmalley always gets picked. And Jim Harvey grabbed this bandana and he's like, Ben, stand next to me. And he took this bandana and he tied the bandana around Ben's leg. And he said, all right, Ben, this is what I want you to do. Walk. So Ben proceeded to walk, and as he walked, Jim Harvey walked with him. And they just walked. And they did this thing where they just walked around the kids. Like we were in seats, and everywhere Ben went, Jim went. And Ben was like, trying to get ahead fast, but Jim was a lot bigger than Ben, and they're just walking around. And so finally they complete the circle, and Jim unties the bandana and lets Ben sit down. And I can see it in my brain. I remember this vividly. And Jim went and he picked up his Bible, and he's like, I have an incredible story to tell you today. He opened his Bible and he turned the pages, and he told this story of these 3 guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And it's an amazing story. And it's like blowing my mind, like, oh my gosh, in a furnace, like what? And he tells the story, and then he closes the Bible, and he looks at all of us, and he got down on our level, and he said, guys, I want you to know something. There is not one place in this world that you will ever go There's not one moment in your life that you will ever live that Jesus will not be with you. 8-year-old Tyler, I don't know why, but something clicked. Like it was like this seed that planted deep in my soul. And I didn't even know it was there, to be quite honest. I lived my life, I kept going. I loved my family. My parents were really good. Like they were one of the ones that got it right, you know, like it wasn't just the church's job, but they took their part seriously. Like the first thing my mom taught me at 6 years old was the entire first chapter of Psalms. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners. I can still recite the whole thing. Like they got it right. And I remember, like, it was just good. And I don't know why, but that stuck with me. And then one day, I'm 18 years old. I've moved to Dallas, Texas. I'm sitting in a dorm room at Bible college, and I get this call from a friend. And I'm not having a good time because like something isn't right. Like there's some things shifting. And I'm talking to this guy who's a pastor at the church I grew up with, 18 years of my life. And I'm explaining like, hey, I'm feeling kind of heartbroken. I don't know what's happening, but someone just told me they can't be friends with me anymore and they won't tell me why. He calls me and he says, hey, I have to tell you something. Last summer when we were on a trip, in California while you were asleep. I came in and I touched you. And I'm like, what? He's 8 years older than me. Like, okay. And like everything in my brain is reeling, you know what I mean? And you're trying to make sense of like, okay, so like a good Christian, they forgive, and like, so I think I need to forgive here and now. And within the span of 24 hours, I lost all my friends. My church called and they were like, hey, just want you to know, yeah, we found out about this last year. We didn't want to tell you. And here's the thing, it's not your story. You don't have to worry about this. It doesn't involve you. And when this guy, this abuser's ready, he'll tell your parents. And I'm like, okay, 18-year-old Tyler, like he's just grasping and grappling with all this stuff. So I walked this for years, tell no one. Finally, one day, through a long series of events and a longer story, I tell my parents. And it comes out that my parents addressed this person and they sat him down on their couch. I wasn't there, but there were a lot of people in this living room and they said, tell us what happened. And he said, okay, well, the first time it happened, and my parents said, well, hold on one second, what? What? I said, well, it happened twice. And so my mom called me and she's teary-eyed, and what parent wants to make that phone call to their kid? She's like, hey, Tyler, I gotta tell you something. And I remember as the words came out of her mouth, hey, it happened twice, did you know this? Both times you were asleep. And there was this moment. Like it's like I felt, it was 4 years removed from the first time I'd had this conversation. I remember feeling alone in the dorm room, and I was immediately transported back there, and all of a sudden I just feel this loneliness again, and it clicked. 8-year-old Tyler sitting 3 to 4 rows back, middle aisle, looking at Jim Harvey, stare us in the eyes and say, there's nowhere you're ever gonna go that Jesus will not be with you. And I'm not saying that it changed overnight. It didn't. I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of hard work and things and counseling and yes, absolutely. But because someone was faithful enough to just open the Bible and just read a story and then pull the truth from that story, like a seed was planted in my heart so that one day when the storm came and the rains fell, it didn't blow me off course. It just watered the seed in my heart. And because of that, good fruit came. And I'm someone who can look at you in the eyes and tell you it's not just Bible knowledge, it's the fact that the Bible is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path, and it lights the way for me to find Jesus. And all of a sudden, it became real for me. You know, I learned that even in the dark, scary, lonely places, when the rains come and it feels like the water trickles down to the lowest, scariest parts that no one has ever been, Jesus is there. And he's not scared. So I don't have to be either. That's why we do this, right? Like, take it all. Take all of it. Take the stage, take the lights, strip it all away. And at the end of the day, it's in my bones because I know that I know that I know when we plant the seeds, it changes lives. It changes lives. That's what we do. That's why you're here. You do the thankless job. No, none of us, I don't think any of us, none of us have ever had a 7-year-old come up and be like, that sermon was like life. Like, you read my mail. You know, like, if you have, I'd love to know that story. But that's why it matters. That's why we do this. We don't just do it because we want to do cool things or creative things or do shiny things or because we're making a lot of money. Pause. We do it because we trust that as we plant the seed, God's word does not return void, but that it accomplishes that which he set forth for it to do. And so I'm excited because this year, as we're diving into the 25-26 scope and cycle, we're going to teach the Bible. We're going to teach the truth that comes from it. And we're going to plant seeds in the hearts and minds of young people and trust that, like Jesus said, in this life they will have troubles, that when that rain falls, it will water the seeds. And although there are a lot of options for them to reach for, they'll know that they can reach for Jesus. And so that's what I want to talk about for just a second. I'm excited about this scope and cycle. And here's why, because we get to do the important work. So here's what I want to talk about for just the next 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes of your time. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. It came up and some people are like, oh, wow, yeah, it's beautiful. So this year for our scope and cycle, we've got some really exciting things coming up. Let me just start with really fast the preschool. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so excited. Is anyone in here a First Look subscriber? Like anyone? I just want you to know, I don't think anyone does it better. Like, it's so good. But here's what I love about it is this year, we start with creation in August. We talk about how God made all things. Then we move into how God made us. And what First Look does so well is they don't just dumb down the Bible, they distill it. It's not diluted, it's distilled to its truest form. It's potent and it's active. So we're gonna walk kids through these Bibles and these Bible stories and these truths, and it's so good. This is all gonna be available. You'll be able to go on and see it, but I'm excited because we're really going after children's hearts. And so the next thing that I'm really excited about is in 252, in our scope and cycle this year, we're in the Bible through the year. This was God's divine providence. And so what we're doing is we're starting in Genesis and moving all the way to Revelation. And we're talking about how the Bible is not just one little story made up of little parts, but God's big story. And we believe that this story helps us find our story in his kingdom. And we're excited about that. So because of that, there's some other great series that we're doing. We're legitimately in August, we start in Genesis, and then we work all the way through the Bible. Now, we have our orange specialists and customer success team out here. You guys should talk to them about this. It's amazing. We have an incredible scope and cycle. It'll be available on the website. You need to check it out. I'm really excited about some of the creative ways that we're gonna be pulling the Bible and teaching it to these kids. And you may be in here and be like, okay, so what about XP3? Well, here's the reality. You should have gotten, some of you probably got an email a couple weeks ago. We're just making a couple shifts on XP3. We're excited as we've listened and we've heard about what's the best way we can serve churches. Well, we have an August through December scope and cycle, and it's available and you can check it out this week. But we're hoping that by January, we're gonna be launching something new. We're gonna be launching something really exciting. And we're gonna be launching something that really serves and really impacts and helps you impact the lives of your students, all right? So that's the scope and cycle. And then just real quickly, so I can help you. Like Chris said, we're really passionate about making sure that we continue to innovate and we continue to push forward. And we don't do that alone. None of us do our best work by ourselves. You have a piece of the Holy Spirit that I have yet to encounter, so I get to see God working in your life, and you get to see him working in my life. And so we believe that not just in on-screen talent do we need to make sure that we have diversity, but also just in the way, in the perspectives, and the people that write. So this is our content team. These are the people that are working and putting this content together. They're world-class people who are doing incredible things. We're gonna continue to grow this, but they are working hard to make sure that you have content that's world-class and changes lives. And it's awesome. Their perspectives are amazing, and we're gonna continue to make sure that we fight for diversity in that. So that's where that's at. Very quickly, Tyler, what are you doing? What's coming up? Well, I'm so glad you guys asked, okay? So, we've done some work and we've actually gone after and hired some incredible world-class animators who have worked for world-class organizations, and we're looking at ways that we can bring the Bible to life. We're looking at ways that we can start to innovate again. Now, I'm really excited that we're gonna have some announcements coming up in some short months to tell you about some new things that are on the horizon, but we're really pumped about some of the things that we're starting to innovate and work on again. But it's not just those Bible stories. We're also looking at how do we refresh and elevate. Gordon Ramsay, says it's chicken, elevate it. It's like, this is already good. So we're not looking at how do we just wipe the whole thing and start all over. We're like, okay, let's dream again. For 30 years, you've trusted Orange to pioneer the best way, in the new way, in the creative way. And so we want to keep continuing to bring the story of God to life in the best ways that capture the imagination and hearts of young minds. So we're gonna keep doing that. And because we believe in innovation, I'm really excited to welcome Chris back out to the stage as he talks about some of the tools we've been working on over the past 113 days that I really think you're gonna love. So please give it up for Chris.
All right. I'm excited. We get to talk about new things. Some people are afraid of new things. I'm scared of old ones. So I'm excited to talk about what's coming, but I've got to follow Tyler's lead. He was pretty vulnerable. So yeah, let's give him a round of applause. So I got to show you a little bit about my family earlier. My oldest son, Micah, man, this kid, he's got so much energy. He's bouncing off the walls. He started talking at 1 and he has never shut up since. So when he got diagnosed with ADHD, we're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I've got to talk to you about my second son. So my second son, his name is CJ. And so CJ was born when we had just moved to Seattle. We'd come to the States. And when he was 2.5 years old, he was nonverbal. And so we started taking him and to these doctors, and they would run all these tests and different things. And eventually he got diagnosed with autism. Now, we didn't know what autism was. We had never understood what that meant. But I still remember sitting in the doctor's office and them telling us, we're sorry, your son is probably never gonna hold down a full-time job. He will probably never get married. He's incapable of relationships. And we're not sure that he's ever gonna speak. Those are the words as a parent that you never wanna hear a doctor say. And so we did what you guys would do as Christians. We tried to find a great church to attend to support us in this really difficult season that we were going through. And we were new to Seattle. We didn't know the community, the different churches there. We just started attending some to try and figure it out. And I'll never forget the first week we went to one. We turned up to check our son into kids' church, only to be told, your son isn't welcome here. I'm like, he has autism. The church should be the safest place on the planet. To be told to sit in the lobby, like my wife and I were like, we love Jesus, but what if we were new here? Like what is this experience like? And CJ we got him a lot of therapy. He's doing a lot better. We still eat the same food every single night of the week. You know, Monday is salmon, Tuesday is pasta, Wednesday is butter. If you have autistic kids, you'll know exactly what I mean because they don't do well with change. So when I got here, one of the first things that I wanted to do is to answer the question, what are we doing for kids with special needs? And so the first thing we did is we said, what if we could create 2 media adaptions that would be specific sensory need playlists that could support kids with sensory needs. For kids that can't be in the main auditorium with all the other kids, the noise is too loud, they just need a different place to go. So starting in the fall, we are creating 2 brand new playlists for pre-K and for elementary. They're gonna support you in caring for those kids even greater than what you do today. But that's not all. I started thinking about this and I'm like, what would be the single biggest challenge if I was in your shoes? And I thought about it and I thought, well, it seems like the biggest challenge would be to have leaders and volunteers that are trained to create a safe space for special needs kids. So we have partnered with Kim Botto to create a masterclass style course called Every Child. And it is gonna go through, let's give a round of applause. Kim is an incredible human being. She's gonna be here tomorrow night. And she was in Dallas a few weeks ago to record this over 2 days. She really poured her heart and soul into this course. And so it is designed to equip your leaders and your volunteers to understand how to create a safe place and an environment where every child feels welcome. So I want you guys to check this out.
What we believe about a kid will affect the way we respond to them. There are whole families that are staying home on Sunday because they cannot find a church who will welcome their child. I think when we look at kids who are neurodivergent, we make assumptions that this kid is willfully defiant. They are just trying to process the world, which really isn't built for them. I'm excited for you to join me in this course where we investigate new strategies to respond to kids who have challenging behavior, where we also consider what our mindset is about kids who are difficult. We're gonna look at scripture and look at what Jesus says about these kids and apply these beliefs to the way we respond to this behavior. My name is Kim Botto, and I would love for you to join me in my course, Every Child.
So the best part of all of this is because I just can't help thinking, my experience with CJ, I want to bring this here because we are passionate about serving you. And so the best part of getting to do this is we get to make this course available absolutely free for all of you. So it's coming out in a couple of months, absolutely free. Yeah. Okay, so to help me talk about the next thing we're working on, Tyler is back on stage. And when I got to talk to customers, the first thing we talked about was obviously we want more biblical depth. The second thing that people said to me was, man, Chris, we love downloading 300 files every single week. We don't know what we would do if there just wasn't 300 files to download. So, no, I'm just kidding. You hate the files. And so I started listening and I was like, I have a background in software. What if we could do something about this? And so we started thinking about what it would look like to make the world's best software designed to serve you specifically around the media files that we deliver to you. And so we're excited today to introduce you to A-Play. So Tyler's here, he's gonna help step us through the stuff.
Are you sure? Can I do it? Okay, yeah.
You can do it.
We're gonna talk about the stuff.
The stuff.
All right, here we go. Well, since we, I guess, don't like downloading 1,001 files, Chris, like taking away my second job, but here we go. No, we're really excited to launch this new thing with you guys. Now, this is something, it's a tool that as a kids pastor, I wish I had had 10 years ago. It's so great, and it makes things so much more effortless. I'm not saying that there's not effort into it, but I'm saying it makes it better. And so, Chris, can I show them really
I want to
fast?
see this.
Okay. So it's a TV app, and it's not just an Apple TV app, although that is how it can be distributed. It shows up magically on your television screen. But the part I want to show you that I'm really excited about is the website portion. So I'm going to do something, and I'm very sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and log in here, and we're going to use your email really fast. So we're going to just put in Chris at
Hey, wait a second.
email all grievances to Chris at amazingchurch.com. And then password Jesus1.
Are we doing your performance review after this?
Yeah, it's great. All right, and here we are. We're on the back page. So here we are. This is awesome. Now, on the left, you see the media and the playlist and the queue. That's all great. We'll talk about it in a second. But here is all these curated playlists. So if you look at the top, we're going to go to kids really fast. Let's see. Let's do May, preteen, week 1 of May. Here it is. Okay. So this is a curated playlist. It has all the content that you're used to downloading. Now, here it is, ready and available to you. This is just ready to go. If you showed up this weekend and turned on the Apple TV, you could press play and all of your content would be lined up and ready to go. Now, that sounds awesome, right, Chris? Like, that's great. But I know I can hear it. I can hear their thoughts because they're my thoughts too. It's like, but what if we don't do it the way you tell us to do it?
No one does that.
How dare you, okay? So for the next 4 hours, we're gonna, okay, so here we go. So I'm glad you wanna know that because you can customize this. So it's actually very simple. You duplicate the playlist, and then now you have everything movable. So on the left, you have all of those media items, so you can look at everything that's been pre-curated for you. And on the right is the library of content that you know and love, and you can start to drag and drop into that playlist. So like this is right here, it's the K3 like story slides for large group, but let's grab these game slides. And we're just gonna put these game slides into the playlist. And then all of a sudden, you can drag and drop and move any of this media around into any order that you want it to be. So like you can put these anywhere you want, they're good to go. And also you can remove them if you want, if there's stuff in that playlist that you don't like. And this is awesome, I know, but I still hear them saying, Chris, but what if we wanna put our own stuff in there? Which, how dare you?
Their own stuff?
Yeah, like, am I not enough? Okay, fine. But I get it because sometimes Michaela has a birthday and we need to tell Michaela happy birthday.
Yeah, we'll allow that.
Yeah, okay. So here's what you would do. It's very simple. Up here on the left, you have the media, and here's the media library that we all know and love and we're subscribed to. Up on the top is the modules, preschool, kids, students, family, leaders, all of that. We're gonna just stick with our theme, go to kids, go to the 252 kids library, dial into the May one. Okay, so here's all of the media for May. This is a lot, it's like the CDN. Here we go, so let's filter it really fast. So we can filter by video type, and then let's see like countdowns. So I wanna see all the countdowns for May, and we just hit apply, and there's everything we need. So we could take that and we could preview it there on the browser, and we could do it, but I know what you're saying. Tyler, that's cool, thank you. Can we update our own stuff? Yes, you can. You go to My Uploads, you go to your own library, and now you can upload your own media. So let's say you have a guest speaker that's going long, and so you're gonna need more content, so let's just title this.
That's like the Pentecostal church I went to.
Long.
Yeah.
Description.
Okay.
Help. Okay, all right. All right. You can tag it however you want for filtering purposes later. And then you can choose, it can be an image or a video. I'm gonna just go to next for a second. And then if it's a video, you can upload a thumbnail, and you can also drop in the media that you want to update and upload as well. So it's very intuitive, it's very awesome. We're really excited about it. And I don't know, Chris, like that's kind of all I got for you.
That's it?
No, I'm sorry, there's more. So here's the other, it's the best part. You can also change the behavior of the media cues, okay? So like on each media, after you've saved your playlist and you have the content you want, you can choose to play to the next cue, you can loop it, you can pause it, you can stop it and go back out to the menu. You can change everything so that when you open up your playlist in your classrooms, well, just like we all know, none of us have the same experience, none of us have the same classroom sizes or from service to service or church to church. Well, you can customize it however you want. You can play with the possibilities.
Unbelievable. Yeah, let's go.
That's it.
So I know what they're still thinking, Tyler.
What are they still thinking?
They're still thinking this would never work in our environment.
That they are.
First of all, there's the load and load out people.
Yeah.
You did that for a while.
I did, yeah.
And so you're like, hey, we don't have Wi-Fi in our environment.
It's true.
Well, great news. You can save all the media to the device ahead of time.
Yep.
Okay.
You don't need
And there's some
Wi-Fi.
other folks, you're thinking like, we have like a stadium that our kids program meets in. Like it would never work. We have, 3,000 kids. We have like multiple monitors.
Yeah.
We have like swinging TV arms.
Yeah.
And like, that's what some folks here are thinking.
Like at least 60% of them are all having those thoughts.
So we have a confession to make. This whole presentation was run on an Apple TV.
Yep.
This whole presentation tonight was, with all of this crazy technology, was run on an Apple TV using aPlay.
Using aPlay.
Exactly. That's how sophisticated this is. And it's only 113 days we've got to build all this.
Wait for 118.
Wait. So I know what they're also thinking.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really expensive.
I bet it's gonna drain us.
And some of my church calls, I heard like this, people pay like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes, a lot
for
of money.
stuff like this. Like those other people were charging that kind of money.
So is it gonna hurt?
Well, good news, it's not gonna be $1,000
Thank God.
a month, a screen,
Okay, thank
a
God.
year.
Great.
It's not gonna be $500. It's completely free for every single Orange subscriber.
There you go.
Completely free.
Well,
So let's go ahead and check out this video.
introducing aPlay. All right.
So let's do a quick recap. Tonight we have heard about our 5 commitments to you. All the good stuff that is changing, all the stuff that's not changing, more biblical depth. We're not changing all the stuff you love, but we're changing all the stuff that you don't love. We've talked about the special needs curriculum with Kim Botto.
Yep.
Completely free for all of you. Exactly. We've talked about aPlay, the world's best software to present all of this cool new media that we're working on. But we started thinking, tonight wouldn't be complete without one more thing. And that is amazing music.
You and your word. If you said it, I believe it. I've seen how good it worked. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you and your word. I'll take you and your word.
All right, yeah.
We did it.
So I just got here, I started asking some questions and I was like, what do you guys all love and what would you like us to do? And the feedback was, we really love all the Orange original stuff,
Yeah.
but it sure would be cool if we could have some CCLI songs that would allow us to have our adults and kids singing the same stuff, right? So we went out and partnered with some of the leading producers who are producing music. Who are some of the folks?
I mean, it's people who have won Grammy Awards, people who are producing all the songs that we know and love right now. But even more than just those producers, we're actually working with some of the artists who have written these songs that we all sing together. And they're so excited about partnering with us to make something that kids and parents can sing together, that they want to sing the songs for us and partner with us to do it. So we're in talks with a lot of them, and it's really cool. As of right now, we have Matt Redman, we have Rita Springer, Israel Houghton. There's some really fun ones that are coming down the pipe.
And some more that are coming soon.
But the good news is it's a lot of songs. It's a lot of songs, Chris.
Okay, by the end of this year, we're gonna have 100 songs included in the library that you can choose from. And we're gonna also have, where's my pre-K folks at? 25 pre-K songs. Yeah.
But Chris, it's not just dance videos.
Okay, so with each of those songs, there is 3 videos. Some folks I was talking to you on different calls, and you're like, the dance versions are just a little aerobic. Can we get some videos for the rest of us? So for each of those songs, we've got the dance version, we've got the lyric version, and then for all of you talented folks, we have the instrumental version so you can sing along with your own microphone. Okay? Yeah. And then we also have the dance training videos that are included as well. So you can also train your leaders and volunteers on how to do the dance stuff.
Please.
Yeah.
Now.
I think you might like it. I don't know. I don't know. So it's been a wild 113 days. Can you believe it? This is what's just been happening so far.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of cool new stuff coming in September that I'm not even allowed to tell you about. No, I can't. I really can't. But there's going to be more cool stuff coming. But you know what? I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you. You guys have been so phenomenally accepting of me. I'm new to this whole community, so I love you guys are my people now. You're stuck with me. So